Today we're going to design something that was an actual request from a customer. He said, I put 3M prismatic reflective tape on both sides of my keyport in case I have to go looking for it in some bushes or if it falls in murky water. Plus it helps drivers see me if I let it dangle from my hip while crossing the street or if I'm getting out of my car near a busy road. So he's suggesting that we make a high visibility reflective faceplate. Welcome to the Keyport Maker Series, where we design, build, and hack EDC gear. In our first two videos, we designed inserts for the Keyport pivot and the Keyport slide. Today, we're going to design a module for the Keyport system that works on Anywhere Tool stacks, the slide, and the pivot, using the maker files that we provide on our website. The whole idea with the Maker Series is to inspire you to create your own designs. So if you don't like what I designed today, hopefully you get more out of this than just the product that I design, and you can come up with your own ideas that you will actually use in your keyport. All right, so I've got the maker plate file open in Fusion 360, and I just want to show you around a little bit here. So first of all, you've got these holes, which are exactly configured to where the holes on the metal base plate you get with the Maker starter kit. You get 3 metal base plates and you get a bunch of screws you can use to secure your design to the metal base plate, and then that will allow it to snap into the Keyport ecosystem, the slide, pivot, anywhere tools. So you don't want to ever move these holes, and you don't have to use all of the holes. Typically you want to use all 4 of the outer screw holes. So these 4 right here, you want to definitely put screws in, and then pick a set here. So either put screws in both of these or both of these to secure your part. And it also depends on the part. If it's metal, then it's a lot more rigid than if it were plastic. So if it's plastic, you definitely want to have at least 6 screws in your design. So if I rotate this around, it says front right here with the arrow. This is going to be the front of your design. The front and the back of Keyport modules are actually different shape, so you want to make sure you put your desired front here. So now if I click the home button, it's putting this in kind of a weird position. So I want to orient this a little bit differently. So I'm going to go to bodies, right click on body, and then I'm going to move this -90 so that it sits right on the top plane, just like that. Click OK, and now every time we click the home button, it orients it so that the front arrow is facing us. So the first thing we want to do with this design is extrude it, and we want to extrude it at least longer than the shortest screws. So your kit comes with 4.5 millimeter screws and 3 millimeter screws, and the part is already 1 millimeter thick. So we want to go a little bit bigger than our shortest screw length. So I'm going to extrude this an extra 3 millimeters to make it a total of 4 millimeters thick. So right click, create sketch, and then we're going to use the press pull tool. Select this top face, and now I want to exclude these holes. So click on each one of these holes so that it doesn't extrude the hole along with the rest of it. And now I'm going to click 3, and I just extruded it right over the holes. If you had not deselected the holes, then you would have hole cutouts still going all the way through. So you can see that now our holes are just 1 millimeter deep on the bottom, and we're going to make those deeper a little bit later. So the next thing I want to do is take the fillet tool, and I'm going to fillet this face 1.5 millimeters to give it some nice rounded edges. And then I'm going to right click, create sketch right on top here, and then I'm going to create a rectangle right there. That's going to be the cavity for our reflector. So now I want to draw some center lines on this. draw one there, and then draw one here. Make sure you're right in the center and that your line is vertical and horizontal. And now I'm going to dimension this. I'm going to make this cavity 68 by 11. And now I want to center it, so I'm going to use the symmetry tool, and I'm going to select these two outer lines and then the center line, and that's going to center it there. And then I'm going to select these two lines and that line, and that's going to center it there. So now we are ready to cut into this. So let's select all four of these boxes and click minus 0.5, and now I've got a simple cavity cut right into there. I would potentially make it so that it fits the design a little more with these angles, but that's going to make it a lot harder to cut the reflector tape out and put it in there. Keeping it as a rectangle makes it a lot easier to cut the reflective tape. So the next thing we want to do here is make these holes deeper so that the screws will go in. If you don't make the holes deeper, then when you try to screw in the part that you 3D printed, screws are gonna bottom out and you're gonna have to drill it, and we don't want to have to do any drilling. Just select this face, click create sketch, and go to the press pull tool. And now I'm going to select each one of these circles so that the entire thing turns blue. And let's see what we got going on here. So I want to cut these the opposite direction 3 millimeters. So I'm going to do -3. And click OK. And now you can see that those holes are a lot deeper. So we could print the part as is right now, but it's going to be a little bit difficult to get the actual screws into these without lead-ins. So what a lead-in does is it allows you to install the screw a lot easier. So I'm going to create sketch, and now I'm going to draw some circles, find the center of each one of these holes and draw some new circles. It doesn't matter what size because we're going to dimension them after. Now the screws are 1.6 screws, so I'm going to make the lead-ins 1.7 millimeters diameter. So let's just dimension that one corner, and then I'm going to use relations. So I'm going to click the equal relation right there, equal, and click this, and then when you click the other circles, each time it makes the other circles the same size as your original. And see how they all turn black. And this is just a lot easier than dimensioning each one. So now I'm going to use the press pull tool again, and I'm going to make these 1 millimeter deep. So select that area between the original hole and the new circle. Make sure it's blue. And now I'm going to make this -1. And there we go. So now I've got these lead-ins here. So when you put the actual screw in, it's going to sit upright and be a lot easier to screw in than trying to get that tiny screw into a hole that's already smaller than the screw diameter. Now let me show you another tool you can use to kind of check your design. Come up here to utilities, and we're going to use section analysis. So we're going to draw a section and cut through so we can see what's going on inside the part. So I'm selecting that front plane, and now as I drag it, let's flip it so we can see what's going on. As I drag it, you can actually see the holes and see what's going to be cut, and make sure you don't have any interference. So now when I rotate this, I can see that I've got enough clearance here so that there's going to be material above the screw holes. I can see our lead ins, and you can even measure some of this stuff using the ruler tool, the measure tool. Like, so if I click on this line and then click on the top, you can see that it's 3.5 from there. So use these utilities to kind of check your part, and it's mainly the measure tool and the section tool, which are really useful. Now we are ready to print this part, so I'm just going to export it as a STL. Let's call it So I'm using a Prusa Mini 3D printer. So I've got this part open in Prusa Slicer. I got a bunch of colors of this reflective tape, so I'm going to make multiples here. Let's do 5. I'm going to do 5 black. And then I also have some glow-in-the-dark filament, so I'm going to make 5 glow-in-the-dark ones as well. So I'm going to bump up the infill so that my reflective material works a little better. I'm going to go with 50% infill. Slice now. And now I'm ready to export this to the printer. Alright, each set of these parts took 3.5 hours to print, so I didn't film the whole thing. Now, these are the glow-in-the-dark ones. Let's see how they look. They're light activated, so this is a black light, which works better than regular white light to activate the glow. Okay, now it's arts and crafts time. So the first thing I'm going to do is mark a little template on this grid. Okay, now it's time to screw these down to the metal base plates. I already did this one as an example. And as you can see, it just snaps right onto the Keyport slide. In the Maker Starter Kit, you get 2 sizes of screws, like I mentioned before, the 3mm here and the 4.5mm here. These are custom made screws. We have custom made for our products, so you're not going to be able to find these with the small heads that we get on these that are going to work on our product. If you try to use any other screws, most likely the heads are going to stick up above the metal base plate and they're going to scratch up your keyport when you put them on there, or they're not going to go on at all. You also get this Torx 4 screwdriver, and that's what we're going to use to put the 3mm screws into this product right now. So just line up the metal base plates so the holes in the plate are aligned with the holes in the reflector module. So when you're installing the screws, just stick them on the end of the screwdriver tip like that and hold it up at a slight angle. Align it with one of the holes and get it started. You're going to want to hold the screwdriver pretty firmly as you screw it in and get it so it's flush or below the surface of the base plate. And do that for all 6 screws. 2 here, and then 2 in either one of these sections. One thing to note about the screws that come in the Maker Kit is that they're made for wood or plastic, not metal. If you need screws for metal and you're going to tap the holes, so this is an aluminum scale on the Neba knife, we use the same screws on the Neba knife and the Mocha module as we use on the slide. The slide has these screws back here and 4 on the top. You can actually purchase these screws on the website as well, and they're sold in a pack of 4 for the slide. So if you're planning to make something out of metal, make sure you get some of those slide machine screws, and they are 1.6, 0.35 thread if you're going to tap the holes. So I got this one on and I mounted it onto one of our module pocket clips. This could definitely be clipped to your bag or to your clothing if you're somewhere at night and you want to have higher visibility. Alright, here's the final effect of these reflector faceplates. I'm using the Pocket Flare 2.0 to light them up here. All the products you need to make these are down in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.